Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
This episode is brought to you by Pluto TV. Pluto TV has all the shows and movies you love streaming for free. That means laughter is free with gut-busting comedies like The Neighborhood, Key and Peele, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Mystery is free with countless cases to crack from Criminal Minds, Tracker, and Matlock. And thrills are free with heart-pumping hits like The Walking Dead and Defiance. Feel the free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
My travels.
You are away for a while, mover and shaker out in the world. I got, in your absence, I got deplatformed for some of my harsher comments, and I wasn't invited. So I'm glad to be back here.
Wait,
I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea what
you
I'm
did.
talking about.
You're just upset because somebody left a comment saying, "Hey, love the podcast, but could you cut it out with the sports stuff?"
I'm sorry. I'm using the lens of sports to talk about the social realities of our world. All right. I'm sorry
if barely finished that sentence because you were like, "How do I spin this to make it about something?"
We talked about Shedeur Sanders and like being a black person in the draft. All right. I'm sorry it wasn't about Dorit's handbag or
Dorit's. Her name is Dorit.
Dorit. I was on New York Post like last week or 2 weeks ago, and apparently her husband is cheating on her, and he's like making out with another influencer.
He's not cheating
that was the
on
name
her.
that I saw.
They are separated, but then he was out in the streets putting his whole tongue inside of another blonde woman's mouth, and she the next day filed officially for divorce.
I think that's just as important to talk about as racial inequality in America. Your listeners are correct.
Well, speaking of housewives and racial inequality in America, Ramona Singer, we have a whole list of things to talk about. Lots has happened, but Ramona Singer posted a picture of herself at some sort of a gala, and she posted a picture with Daniel Penny. Do you know who that is?
Is that the Subway choker guy?
Yeah. And she posted it, and the caption said, "So happy to honor Daniel Penny, a hero."
Good. Yeah, of course. Real heroes murder unhoused people on the subway. That's what real heroes do.
Yep. And so she and you know what? A New York City hero with a New York City icon like
That's
Ramona Singer, right? And then it was bad. So that post was interesting because there's a lot of people liking it and commenting on it that are I don't follow them, but a couple of them are like Bravo platform people. So they're like queer people who have really gotten, very popular the last 5 years, especially talking about Bravo and stuff. You're like, oh, everybody's just very comfortable. And by the way, when I say they were commenting on it, they were commenting positively.
Hearts.
And so hearts and the like. And so, and the most shocking one, but like not really anymore because of her performance on Traitors, was Dorinda Medley commented on it saying, "You look beautiful, Ramona."
Oh, God. When do we write these people off? This is what I want to know now.
Well, here's the thing. Ramona has been written off. Like, she's no longer part of any Bravo stuff. Like, at the last BravoCon, Andy disinvited her to things. She's never invited to the clubhouse anymore. As far as we're concerned, hopefully, I think that they're all out. But at the same time, we are entering a time where people are getting cozy with racists again.
That's what I'm saying. Like it is now like if you are a racist in America or things that used to be looked at as, hey, maybe this is something that you should avoid. You should, something that you should avoid part of the conversation is completely out of the window where it's just like, if it's something that's borderline, hey, lib, hey, minority, shut the fuck up and have a laugh about it. Right. Like just fucking get over it. But
who
like,
cares? So we killed the man. Who cares?
Exactly. But then there are things like, hey, the murder of a homeless person. Yeah. Maybe we should draw the line and not refer to this asshole as a hero. Who stood behind his fucking Marine status and has gotten all this support from people who, honestly, it just comes down to he killed a guy. The guy was black. And because he's a Marine and because he got acquitted, we are okay supporting this person 100%. Right. So I don't know what to say about that.
Exactly. I have a friend who works in like the beauty industry. Like she has a nail salon. She does spray tans, all these things. And she has a lot of, and she's a white blonde woman from Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times she has clients that come and they think that because of the way she looks and where she lives, that she's going to have particular views. And then they start, and then she just kind of has to look at them and be like, yeah, I don't agree with you. Like, or, and we're having this conversation and it was interesting because she was like, when you bring up stuff, because she grew up in Kentucky, she's like, every single person I know is a conservative.
Yeah.
So very few people are liberal. And so she said, we were talking about it and it's like, you have the conversation and you're like, you bring up stuff that the right is doing wrong. Like, Trump posting a picture as the Pope, right? And then you're like, hey, that's not good. And they're like, yeah, it's not good. That's not great. But you're like, okay, what's the but? And then the question is always like, well, what do you think about DEI? Or what do you think about trans people? And you're like, okay, so it's not about tariffs. It's not about the economy. You just want to be able to be racist and a bigot.
It's like I think that part of it is you want to be a racist and a bigot, or you want the freedom to express your racism and your bigotry without any consequences, right? There's also a part of it which is people are now like owning libs has become a thing, right? Like we will stomp on our own dicks with these tariffs and destroy our lives because it's going to make the libs cry. Meanwhile, it's like, bitch, the people that suffer the most are the poorest states, and the poorest states are always all the red states because you guys don't care about science. You're just waiting for your welfare check from the blue states, right? So I don't know. God bless. God bless, I guess.
Well, speaking of God and blessing, we got a new pope. Okay, we got so much to talk about with the new pope. Okay, first time ever, ladies and gentlemen. What's that music for Chicago Bulls? Dun, 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 dun. That,
is that supposed to?
Yeah.
Isn't
that the Bulls music?
First of all, the fact that you butchered that song,
Isn't that how it starts?
It's so offensive to me as a person. But it does. I do see what you're kind of going for. I will not. I think what I would like is if you could buy the rights to that song and play it here.
You know what I can do? I can download it and then I can play it, but I could just speed it up just slightly. And then that way I can use it or slow it down depending on what the mood is. But
now the starting lineup for your Catholicism,
Catholic Pope,
for your Catholic Pope. 5'7".
Is he 5'7"? He
does
seem like a short king. Now his name is Robert what? Provost? I made that up.
Provolone? Offensive.
Bobby Provolone.
Hey, Bobby. Chicago. It's a shame you and I can't do a Chicago accent because Pope Bob sounds like a great time.
Pope Babby from Chicago. Listen. What's crazy is this is the first ever. I'm gonna pull up his stats. You think they have a height and weight? They have a height and weight on it. Robert. Nope, not Pavis. Not Pattison. Okay, Prevost. It's Prevost. And he is. God, you know what's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
He's our mom's age.
So our mom could have been Pope. If she played her cards right, she could have been Pope.
Like, that's crazy. It's crazy to me that when I moved to this country, this Pope was only, 40 years old? That's nuts. He was my age. That's crazy.
Are you just, in this moment, realizing how time works? Like, when 30 years pass, you get 30 years older, and he also gets 30 years older.
And, it always hits me because, also I feel like the Pope has historically just been old, right? Like Pope Francis was like 90 and then Benedict obviously left. He was like, no. JP was pretty old. But do you think JP was younger when he joined? Also, I think that for me, hold on. I also think for me.
Do I think JP was younger the years before when yes, he was. That's how age works.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Okay, he was 78. He was there from 1978 to 2005. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, and he was born in 1920. Okay.
So he was actually
he was actually younger than the current Pope.
He was significantly younger.
10
years younger.
11 years younger than him.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I think also the other reason why I feel like 68, 69 is not that old is because I'm old.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Is because I'm old. Because I'm like, oh, he's only 30 years older than me. That's not even that old. But actually, I'm old. Again, time. What a thing.
What I like about it in terms of him being a normal person, right? Because I think that's what we're talking about. Have you seen the clip of him from the 2005 World Series?
Of the baseball?
Of the baseballs, yeah.
No.
So apparently he's a big White Sox fan.
Uh-huh.
So game 1 of the 2005 World Series, the White Sox were in it, and there's a crowd shot or whatever, and it's Pope Bobby. Pope Bobby is just in attendance, just a fan.
He's just sitting. Okay, he's just sitting. It would be amazing if he was doing the wave.
I think he's praying because it was a tense game.
He's flossing. And they're like, that wasn't a thing back then. It started from him. What's crazy is, their internet is everybody's interviewing his whole family. And I think that's really fun. They keep talking to his brother, and every clip I've seen is of his brothers being like, everybody thinks that he's what are the Chicago
Cubs?
He's a Cubs fan, but he's not. He's a White Sox fan. That's like the only, and I think he has 2 brothers, and they're both like, that's the main thing we need to clarify here about our brother, your new papa.
Yeah, the new father. And you know what? I completely see their point of view. If you are a White Sox fan, being called a Cubs fan is an insult. Like, so that's the reason why they want to get out in front of it, because I think the Cubs put it out first. The Cubs were like, "Oh, the new pope is a Cubs fan," and then everyone's like, "Hey, no, wait a second, Cubs." So, do you know about like the Cubs versus White Sox thing in terms of
the profile?
I
don't, but I don't think we're allowed to talk about it anymore.
Oh, that's true. We don't care. We don't care. All I'll say is the Cubs have traditionally been looked at as the rich team. So like the rich fans are Cubs fans.
Okay.
And then the White Sox fans are the South Side fans. Yeah, they're the people. Yeah. Mostly minorities are White Sox fans. People from the South Side are White Sox fans, which is usually a lower income area of Chicago. So that's the reason why. That's the reason why it's important. That's why, like, if you're a White Sox fan, being called like a hottie toddy fucking Cubs fan, you go, no, fuck you. Like, I suffered. You know what I mean? I don't have time for you.
I think it's like the difference between being a Jets fan and a Giants fan. Like, I feel like Giants fans are considered like bougier. And Jets fans are like trash from Long Island and New Jersey.
Listen, I don't want to get into it because that's the feedback is no sports or whatever. It's not like that. I think Jets fans are just actually a little bit messed up in the head, but in the best way possible. They just,
it's like people who watch Bravo versus people who watch TLC.
Exactly.
I get it.
That's the right one. Yep.
That's the right one. I think what's really fun is like the other information we've learned about him is that like he plays Wordle and Words with Friends with his brothers.
I did not know that. That's adorable.
That's so cute. Now, we do need to talk about some of his stances. He very pro-immigration, anti-Trump, pro-Palestine, liberal views in the sense of like people of color, Black people, refugees, but LGBTQ? He said no.
No mas. No mass and no mas.
I just came from France, so I'm going to say he said no. Oh. And so he said no thanks. So what I discovered about him is that he's basically an imam.
Yeah. Sounds like a great Muslim pope, man.
Sounds like an amazing Muslim pope. Sounds like a super cool American imam. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
he has an Instagram site. He has maybe a TikTok. Maybe he has a little studio where he gives, religious readings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One of his first, statements, I don't know, announcements, sermons, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
He talked about like what's going on in Gaza and the West Bank. So we got that, but no, he said gender ideology. It's not good. No, thanks. No, I'm not interested. What else did I don't know what he thinks about abortion, because famously the Catholics no on abortion.
A spoiler alert. I think I know what he thinks about abortion. I think we all know exactly what the fuck he thinks about abortion. It's also the same thing. Like, are you surprised about his stance on LGBTQ and gender ideology? Like, what were you expecting?
What if he was like, the funniest thing about it is that now, the alt-right, like the QAnon alt-right in Twitter, they do this thing where they think that they call it transvestigating. It's where they try to look at people's pictures and the words and their voices and like investigate whether or not they're actually trans. And the new thing is that they're transvestigating his head.
The Pope.
They're taking pictures of his head and drawing like skulls on it. They're like, traditionally, he has the skull of a woman.
Your gut affects everything, even your mood. So Ollie created 2 brand new products to take care of your insides. Ollie Big 10 Probiotic has 10 strains of probiotics, their most ever, to support a healthy gut microbiome, immune system, and stress response. And Ollie Super Good Superfoods delivers 15 superfoods in tasty gummy form. Find them at ollie.com and exclusively at Walmart. Ollie! These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are we still on the trail? Is this pack getting heavier? More switchbacks? Why am I doing this?
At REI Co-op, we believe there are places within ourselves.
Just a little further. You got this.
That we find only outside.
Wow. Look at the stars. This is incredible.
We have the gear, inspiration, and advice to help you get there. REI Co-op. Visit rei.com.
Clorox Sentiva smells like lavender. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
All right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Sentiva. Available in Clorox Sentiva Lavender-Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Okay, let me see what he said about abortion. Because, like, what if he, you
Do you
never
think
know.
he just took a flyer on abortion? The most important topic to Christians all over the world? Do you think he just went, you know what, I'm going to go the other way on this and get elected Pope?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Oh, yeah, here's what he said. He said, Western mass media is extraordinarily effective in fostering within the general public enormous sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel. For example, abortion, homosexual lifestyle, and euthanasia. I didn't know he was anti-Asian youth. I'm just joking.
I was trying to make that joke also, but you made it first. Yeah, no, that sounds like exactly like the Imam letter that we saw 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, hey, I'm a cool guy, but also like religion's religion and eternal damnation. So
yeah, exactly. He is a Democrat, lifelong Democrat. This guy, pro BLM and everything. But yeah, it just gender ideology, women, abortion.
I don't know about women. I don't like how you threw in the women in there.
Okay, if you're anti-abortion, you are anti-woman.
I don't know.
That's kind of how that works. What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know?
Stop throwing in women in everything, please.
Abortion is what we have to do.
I know. I'm joking.
So upset.
I'm joking, of course. Pipe down, broad.
You made me lose my cap. Okay, here's what's more important, and this is very important to do. It has to do with you. Is that, hold on, no, I have to get this out. Is that the Pope went to Villanova, and people are aware that if you go to school in Pennsylvania, you're probably hitting up a Wawa.
Yeah.
And isn't that something to say? The Pope went to Wawa.
I don't know if Wawa was around when the Pope. Well, no, it probably was. What am I talking about? It is really, yeah. So, like, you think they have a Pope hoagie? A pogie? They should have a pogie.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, I mean, I hope they do. I hope they do have one in his honor. Now, you had your finger raised earlier when I was clamoring about women. What did you want to say?
So, seriously though, right? So, sorry to get serious. Jokes aside, let's get down to theology. No, obviously, for you and I, liberal scum, pinko libs, libtards. Is that a thing that we can say? We see like the abortion stuff. We see the LGBTQ stuff. You say, this ain't working for me. right?
Mm-mm.
At the same time, if you have seen the response from generally from the liberal side and the conservative side online about this Pope and his ideology and what he feels about, refugees and all those things, right? It is like he is a liberal to people online, right? And
Yeah.
he is like he's got like I saw this one tweet from like a checkmark person that said the Pope can go to hell. And he's like, as a Catholic, I'm saying the Pope. And it's just like, well, man, like that's the point when you should know that you are on the wrong side of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is how much I guess grace do we have for something like this? Like how much grace do we have for a religious leader that is obviously like his points of view on the things that are important to a lot of us are not the same as ours, but overall he is a progressive person. Like he is a sign for good.
Well, the good news is that it doesn't matter whether or not I give him any grace because he's still going to be the Pope. Once the
That's true.
conclave is set, it's set. Unless he resigns.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Famously, one of the shortest conclaves was like, what, a day? I'm like, okay. I think that there's a lot of people who are like, oh, this is all, set up to be anti-Trump, da da da. But I think the idea of the Pope, right? It's kind of like, I think that they choose it based on the times, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the times require that an American Pope is needed because we need some sort of array of hope coming out of America because the representation we have out of America is bad, then sure, this is this is good. But at the same time, I give him about as much grace as I give homophobic imams. And you know what I mean? I'm like, I luckily for me, he has nothing to do with my religion. But if this is continuing to go down the same path that the previous Pope did, then that's good. That's what we wanted. I don't know. I think Pope Francis was he was in the blogs for using an Italian F word slur behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So I don't know even if he was joking, it doesn't seem like it would be appropriate. You know what I mean? So, how much grace can you give a person like this? Like, ultimately, is the Pope changing anything? No. Like, I don't know what like. If you're Catholic, I guess it affects you, but it would be like a Catholic person having an opinion about like who the new imam is at. Like, I don't know if we had who like the main like Shia imam is right now in like Iran, right? Like it's the same thing. I'm just okay, all right, good for you, I guess.
I think that it is. I mean, again, it's easy for me to say this as a straight person who isn't affected by this at all, and also as again a person that isn't a part of the Catholic faith. I think of it as a good thing, right? I'm like, okay, well, obviously I don't think that his homophobia and his anti-abortion stance is a good thing, right? But when you look at a profile of this person who is coming into the world, like when he's coming into like being known in the world as a progressive person, and it's tied to faith, is a good thing, because I think that people of faith right now, and I've seen this on the Muslim side, obviously, over the last 5-6 years, is like these culture wars that we're having a lot of times are now being tied to your faith. Yeah. And so if there is a Catholic person that's out there that has been seeing any sort of messaging about immigration or refugee status and stuff like that as something that is like anti-Christian, like you were talking about, like the sin of empathy or whatever a couple weeks ago, right? It's like that is like the other side of this.
Yeah.
So if a Catholic person looks at this Pope and says, hey, you know what? This is something that tells me that I have a little bit more grace to give to refugees and all that stuff, then that's a good sign. At the same time, I think that, and even on like the homophobia stuff or whatever, I haven't heard what he said about it, right? But this, whatever you just said, seems like a more measured comment than like the hateful stuff that a lot of places of worship kind of put out there, right? Which is, again, As a straight person, I know that to a person of the LGBTQ community, they could hear that and tell me to shut the fuck up, and they would be completely
and
within
they
their
should
rights to do so,
probably.
right? And
Yeah,
they should, right?
Yeah.
But I think overall, as a person who still believes in faith, that knows that it is an important part to like a lot of different people, and it's just like, okay, how do you bring those two things together? I think it's a good thing. I think that his being a progressive is obviously a good thing. But then again, it's also not my fight. So.
He also condemned teaching about gender in schools because he said that it was confusing. So he also overlooked like abuse in the church. So not great.
I wish you would have told me that abuse stuff before I went on my little rant. Welcoming I almost called him Coach Bobby. Pope
Bobby. By the way,
Coach
that's
Bob.
not his name. He, by the way, anti-gender studies, but he did choose a chosen name, and he has a chosen name. He has a chosen name now. He's Pope Leo. Yeah. What would your Pope name be if you could have one?
I think we talked about this in the cousin group. So when we first came to America, when we first came to America, my first Spanish class, I had to pick a Spanish name. So I was Roberto for the first 2 months because that was the first R name. Yeah, that was the first R. 2 months later, I was like, I will now go by Raul. And then they allowed it. So, Pennsylvania, 1995, very, very modern, very progressive in terms of allowing you to change your name.
Your Spanish teacher was probably like, dude, I honestly don't even remember your name.
I don't know your Spanish name, and I don't know your Pakistani name. She said Pakistani. I don't say Pakistani. I said
Pakistani. Isn't it wild to think that the Pope knows about Scandival?
Why would the Pope know about Scandival?
Everybody knew about Scandival, okay?
If you are a person in 2025, you know about Scandival.
You're telling me he doesn't know about Scandival? Get out of here.
You think he's Team Ariana, or because he's a misogynist male piece of... You think he's bro Tom?
No, I think even this homophobic Pope.
Oh, come on.
And hey, I can say whatever I want. Okay?
Oh my God.
Remember when I told you about we're gonna lose Catholics? I think the Catholics are fine with us saying that the Pope is homophobic. It's like you said, imams are homophobic, okay? Guess what?
If I get hit with lightning today, I swear to God, no, I'm joking. No, I agree with you. I just wouldn't, use those terms.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, hey, let's talk about the Met Gala.
Also, best of luck, Pope.
Okay. I want to talk about the Met Gala. Okay. Speaking of gowns, because when I think about the Pope, the first thing I think about is those beautiful gowns. The Met Gala was amazing. The theme was at the Met itself. I think the theme was Black dandyism, and the Met Gala, the red carpet, the theme was like tailored to you, and so everybody was wearing suits and all that stuff. Everybody looks stunning. The jokes from Black Twitter or Black Threads was they done let the Black people into the Met Gala. It was beautiful. It was amazing. What was very exciting for us brown people is that the most famous actor in all of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan, was present
in the entire world. Come on.
Well, it's interesting you're saying that. So he was there, he was present, and he was there alongside Sabyasachi, who is a famous designer. And Sabyasachi's done gowns in the past for other events at the Oscars, at the Grammys, whatever. He's a pretty famous designer. And he's done gowns for a lot of Bollywood actresses that come to like Cannes and everything like that. So he was there. Shah Khan got a lot of attention because they were like, oh, who's this guy? He was dressed like Sirius Black from the Harry Potter movies. He had a big old K on his neck. It was very silly looking, but he seemed to be enjoying himself. He is a big topic of conversation right now on the internet because he had a red carpet interview with Ego Odom and Tiana Taylor, and they were very nice to him. And they were like, hey, this is the first time like a Bollywood actor has been on at the Met Gala. Bollywood actresses have. But like I think Alia Bhatt was there last year and the year before. Yeah. Anyway.
And of course, Pinky Chops is always there.
Pinky Chops is always there. Okay. Yeah. Pinky Chops, She's a shoo-in now. She dressed up as Carmen Sandiego that one year, and they've said, "Come on through every year." Anyway, so he was there. He was like, "Hey, yeah," and they were like, "What do you think? Like, are you excited?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm just here. Like, I'm here to have a nice time. I wanted to be comfortable." They were like, "What are you wearing?" And he was like, "I wanted to dress in all black because that's what I'm most comfortable in." And then he kind of like swung it over to Sabyasachi, and Sabyasachi said, "So just so you know, this is the biggest superstar of the world." And there were stampedes outside of the hotel. And it's like, okay. And like, it was so weird because, what's happening right now on the internet is two things. One, they see people who are like, how dare these people not know who Shah Rukh Khan is, right? And then as it happens, when they see people, and especially, actually, this is true of all people of color. It's very true about white people, but it happens a lot with Desi people, is that when Black people do something that they don't like, their criticism of those Black people will often be filled with racism.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of people saying, like, these ghetto Black girls, Tiana Taylor's so ghetto, she doesn't know what she's talking about, Americans are so dumb, da da da, all this stuff, like a lot of negative, hateful stuff about Ego Odom and Tiana Taylor in defense of Shah Rukh Khan, because they think that everybody should know and worship Shah Rukh Khan. Like, they wanted them to be fangirling Shah Rukh Khan. And they didn't, because they don't know who he is. And that's okay that they don't know who he is. They interviewed him for Vogue. They had a piece about him in Vogue, and they were as polite and kind to him at that interview. I think you watched it. I didn't feel like there was anything crazy about what they were saying to him.
I haven't watched it. I'm just learning about it right now.
Okay. So it was fine. It was a perfectly fine, normal 2-minute clip, right? So Desi people were mad that they didn't know who he was. And Black people were like, and then they're being racist about it. So Black people were like, okay, if you want to play that fucking game, how about the fact that Sabyasachi, who is a designer, who is the person that designed this, when asked about what he thought about the theme and whatever, all he talked about was that Shah Rukh Khan is super famous and that, this is a once in a lifetime thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I see the Met Gala is, I think that the Met Gala is, it's all about the fashions, right? That's what it is. And so I would think that if you're a designer and you've designed something for a celebrity to wear, that either you would tell the celebrity how it fits into the theme, or if you are there yourself, you would talk about how it fits into the theme. And neither of them did any of that. And so a lot of the conversation online is about like how Desi people especially, and South Asians especially, now there's all this stuff coming up about like Sabyasachi and his colorism in the past, Shah Rukh Khan being in, face bleaching and face whitening ads, all that kind of stuff, all the anti-Black stuff that happens in Bollywood is now all coming out into the forefront because Desi people got real mad that people didn't know who Shah Rukh Khan was on the red carpet. So what are your thoughts about that?
What are my thoughts about this mess?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think that, so many different places to start, I guess. But, you said that the Met Gala is all supposed to be all about the fashion, right? I can tell you the Met Gala has fucking squat to do with fashion at this point, right? Like, I think it's pretty obvious to people. I mean, and this is just, I guess, my understanding of the Met Gala, because it comes up once a year. I find out about it because there's tons and tons of pictures, and there are always stories about the celebrities that are there, right? Like, I know that there is always supposed to be a theme. Like, I remember, like, I don't know, there was like an Asian theme a couple of years ago. Whatever the theme is, really what it comes down to is looking at famous people and good-looking people in outfits.
So let me just, before you talk about the Met Gala and how you don't think the fashions have nothing to do with it anymore, let me tell you what the theme was.
Yeah.
This was a big deal because this is the first time, like, I was joking about like, oh, they don't let Black people in, but this is the first time that they've actually made the theme about Black fashion.
Okay.
So the theme itself was super fine tailoring Black style, and then the dress code for the red carpet was tailored to you. And so you were invited to interpret the theme and focus on menswear however you wanted it tailored to you. So like Diljit Dosanjh, who, if you don't know who he is, he was the Sikh guy with an all white. He wore basically like, he looked like a Sikh prince, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he wore this outfit that was very much tailored to him. And another part of the theme was Black dandyism. And so I didn't know what dandyism was. And dandyism is apparently this idea of like, it's like the first inklings of like the first ever metrosexuals, right? Like men, really being into grooming and how you looked and having tailored clothes and everything like that. And so Diljit, I felt like, did a really good job of it, because it was like, it's not about Black dandyism, but it is about dandyism, how it has to do in his culture, because he's wearing jewels and he's wearing like a cape. And I thought that looked really cool, right? And he actually talked about it like in his like Instagram post. He like wrote about it. And so it was still a little bit more thought, I guess, put into how he interpreted the theme. And so a lot of people's like issue with Shah Rukh Khan is that he didn't talk about the theme. He just kind of showed up. And then Sabyasachi, who is the designer of this whole thing. And again, the Met Gala, yes, it's like, oh, well, it's a thing that celebrities show up and they just like, whatever. It's like a way for celebrities to just get like famous. And is it a publicity thing? Sure, it is. But at the same time, it happens because there's a costume institute at the Met, and Anna Wintour and Vogue puts on this event to celebrate whatever it is that is being put up in the costume institute. And this year it is Black fashion, and it's like the first ever ode to Black fashion, right? And Black culture's impact on fashion and everything like that. And so they're supposed to be celebrating Black designers and everything like that, or things that we've taken like from the Black culture. Like if you're on top, like Shah Rukh Khan, that's one thing, but like Lisa from Mook from White Lotus, Lisa from Blackpink, she wore an outfit from Louis Vuitton, and in her outfit she wore these like little briefs, bedazzled briefs.
I've seen this.
And on the briefs were faces of historical Black women.
Yes. And
so you're like, that's not great. That feels wrong. Like, and so it's kind of highlighting this thing of like, that we've talked about a lot before, which is that like Asian people and like South Asians, we can speak about for our own community, tend to do a really bad job of understanding how to celebrate Black culture without like offending it in a way, but also like use it to propel themselves, but then deny that they need it to propel themselves. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was all the background. Your thoughts about Shah Rukh Khan and this whole fucking mess that the internet is doing right now on the whole situation?
I would say this. I would say, having like hearing what the theme of it is, and hearing about the fashion, and hearing about what this is for the institute. I hear that, of course. I say yes, this is important. Yes, you should highlight it. Yes, you should talk about it. Right. At the same time, Shah Rukh Khan was not invited there because he has insight into Black dandyism.
No,
Shah Rukh Khan was invited there because he is a celebrity. He was, he is invited there for that reason. Now, that does not mean that it is, that it is the fault of Black dandyism, or it almost becomes like a thing where you have to choose a side, which is no, you really don't have to, because this entire thing is a little bit silly. Right, like this, the entire, and I don't mean to demean fashion or fashionistas, or say that fashion can't also tell the story of culture, which it can.
Neither you nor I are fashion people. Again,
hold on, what is this? I don't even know what this is.
I'm not a TJ Maxxinista even. I'm an Old Navyista.
This is H&M, but this was off of the clearance rack. This is literally $4.99 that I'm wearing right now, right? So that's where I think that the two women need to know Shah Rukh Khan? No, because that's not how it works. And I understand where brown people can get offended that, hey, how do you not know this person? He's such a big person in the world, right? Yeah. And if you go by the numbers, if you look at if you look at the number of people around the world that know who Shah Rukh Khan is, you go, well, so many people in the world know him. How do these two people not know him? And it's because being famous in America is different than being famous everywhere else, right?
That's right.
The culture matters more here. Like, if you are famous in America, you get to be famous all around the world. If you're famous all around the world, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be famous in America, right? The more that I hear about it, it sounds like the blame should be on this designer who took the opportunity, instead of talking about the designs that he should be talking about. He was turned on by the fact that he is next to Shah Rukh Khan, who is the biggest superstar in India, who is one of the biggest superstars in the world, right? So I think he wanted to make that moment about himself. And then the fallout from it, guess what? They're pieces of shit in the world. They're pieces of shit online that only exist so that they can be racist and that they can attack your culture. As a brown person, I can critique the brown people and say, hey, we see this shit all the time. I see this shit in every WhatsApp group that I'm in with brown folks that use black language to express themselves, but also use black language to put down black people at the same time, right? Like the worst fucking shit in the world. At the same time, that's not to say that I haven't come across a ton of places where black people are talking shit about brown people. That also happens. Like, we all have stereotypes and stuff like that, and brown people get the short end of that stick all of the time. So it does happen both ways. Obviously, I think anti-black racism is the worst form of racism. It's the most prevalent form of racism in the world. So if we are comparing racism to racism, I'm sorry, the black people always win, because everyone is racist against black people. That's the shit that happens in the world, right? So I don't know what to say about this. Like, it's a bummer that Shah Rukh Khan showed up to the Met Gala so that he could become a little bit more popular in the world. And I think the Met Gala probably invited him. Honestly, Shah Rukh Khan doesn't need more popularity. Shah Rukh Khan is more than happy. I think the Met Gala gets more out of having Shah Rukh Khan at the Met Gala than Shah Rukh Khan gets out of being at the Met Gala, right? And they fucked it up. Like, this thing is a fucking mess now, which, again, I think goes to my central point, which is the Met Gala is a fucking waste of time, and we should stop focusing on it.
No, I don't think the Met Gala is a waste of time. I think that people on the internet have too much time.
Oh, is that a new thing?
Like, I just hate the fact that a bunch of Desi kids were like, ready to just like chomp at the bit and just be like, you know what? I'm so mad that they didn't know who Shah Rukh Khan was. I am now going to insult black people.
But here's the thing also with the Desi kids online. I do not doubt for a second that some Desi kids online were pieces of shit, because that is my experience with a lot of Desis. Yes, they're at the same time, they're people online. Who gives a fuck what people
they have platforms?
Oh.
That's the problem. That's the problem. You got TikTokers with big platforms, and then that's what happens. Okay?
Maybe this should be your insight that, hey, I don't need to follow this TikToker.
No,
Maybe
I mean,
that's what you should get.
I know. I don't follow any of that. It just came across my feeds eventually because people are like, hey, if you want to be racist against black people and then be like, no, I'm not being racist, then you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull all the receipts of all the time that your beloved stars in Bollywood and your beloved fashion designer was really problematic and super colorist and anti-dark skin, even within your own community. And it's like, Desi people, you got to just shut the fuck up. Hey,
that's true. That? Also, by the way, like, if as somebody that has watched Bollywood movies for my entire life, if you want a list of problematic stuff that we've seen, pull up a fucking chair. All right. What I understand of like how to pursue women. If you want to know where I learned it from and how problematic it is, pull up a fucking chair. We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about Shah Rukh Khan, ask, and you have questions about him, I'm the person to ask, because I used to do a podcast where I watched every single one of his movies and I recapped each and every single one. And let me tell you something: Bollywood is equally like sexist and misogynistic, like very. You want to talk about like the what is it, the Bechdel test, right?
Uh-huh.
Where I think the test is like where two women in the movie have a scene where it's not about a man.
Yeah.
Bollywood doesn't pass any of those. Okay,
That
no mainstream Bollywood movie would pass that. Also, equally misogynistic, but also very gay.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I think when we look back at like Bollywood now, especially I think as you were going through that. I say you. I was also part of that podcast.
Okay, briefly. Okay,
briefly. As you go back and you rewatch some of those movies, I think that's the silliness of it. Which I hate to say that one because you just said it's pretty gay. But like the intentionality of some of that stuff, it has become more obvious as we've gotten older. Like, they are, it feels like they are more, it feels like they're in on the joke while at the same time being like openly misogynistic and racist.
Yeah. It's very confusing, you guys. You want to?
It's a great time.
It's a great time. The themes that we grew up with. I mean, it's not bad enough that all of our parents are from like, all of our parents have like war torn trauma, but then you add on top of it very confusing media stuff.
Yep.
Very, very confusing media stuff. So, you know what? For me and you, apologies for our people. Okay, they're messed up. Okay, they're messed up.
I refuse to apologize for my people. My people. No, listen, man. Everybody has pieces of shit in their culture, right? Everybody has pieces. Yeah, I think we all could just apologize for the worst parts of our people and just be like, hey, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? And if you want to talk about Shah Rukh Khan and Pinky Chops, we can't forget the fact that Shah Rukh Khan and Priyanka Chopra allegedly had an affair so hard and so fast and so intense that when it ended, she left Bollywood, moved to Hollywood, and married Nick Jonas.
And
not
kept
in that
his
exact
jacket.
order. And kept his jacket and loves to
about
talk about
fashion.
Shah Khan's jacket. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to talk about. And also, by the way, if you want to talk about people not doing the theme, Priyanka Chopra looked insane. She looked like a cartoon character. Okay, she always looks insane at the Met Gala. Okay,
No,
you want to shit on you want to shit on a brown person on the red carpet. You want to shit on a South Asian on the red carpet. Do it to Priyanka Chopra. Okay, she's super problematic. You guys, we don't have enough time for this. DM me. I'll tell you all about it. Listen. Speaking of war-torn trauma, Pakistan and India, rough stuff.
Yeah.
Brink of war yet again.
Not great.
Not great. People are dead. Like, I don't know how to, like, it's really bad. There was a terror attack in Kashmir. I don't believe that there was an investigation completely done to confirm who did it. What? Yes? No? Yes?
No, there wasn't. No, so that's one of those points of contention thing. But go on, say what you have to say.
There was a terror attack in Kashmir, and if you don't know, Kashmir is a disputed area between India and Pakistan. A little quick history in the background is that when the British came and they divided and they conquered, they said, "Hey, how about all of these little princehoods? I guess princedoms, kingdoms in what are they called?
I don't know.
I thought you picked up the mic. I thought municipalities. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, if you were majority Muslim, you usually had a king or a nobleman or whatever in that area that was also matching of your religion. So if you were Muslim, in a majority Muslim area, you had a leader that was Muslim. We became part of Pakistan. And if you were Hindu or Sikh, then you became part of India. Actually, they didn't really give the Sikh people a choice. They were like, you're going to India. Also, a lot of you are going to get murdered. It was really bad. Partition's really scary. And then with Kashmir, what happened is that the kings of Kashmir the nobles of Kashmir were Hindu, but the majority of the people were Muslim. And so they were like, who gets it? Who gets the land? And here we are 80 years later. We're still fighting over the land. It's really bad. So it's a little it's a point of contention. There was a terror attack, very, very sad. Several people died. And then India said it was Pakistan and we're going to wage a war. And then so India retaliated. They bombed an area in Pakistan. And then they were like, oh, well, we're going to have a war now. And then I think Pakistan retaliated and they shot down some planes, right? Is that what they did?
Go on. I want to hear what your understanding of this is.
Now, I will
somebody
say this,
that's just been following
in my
on WhatsApp.
defense.
Yeah.
In my defense, I've been on vacation. I didn't really know what's going on. I just was like, hey, things are really bad. It was really scary. Every time stuff like this comes up, Father and I always talk about this. Like, what's stopping our families from being in Pakistan? We were extremely lucky that we are the types of Pakistanis that got to leave and not have to think about this. But, we have a lot of family in Pakistan. And like they were like, hey, like we have family in Lahore, which is right there, right next to the border. And they were like, hey man, if something happens, we're gonna go first. Also, both countries are like little baby mini nuclear powers, right? So they've got some nuclear arms, really scary stuff. And so all of that to say that it was really tense and it was really scary. And I think as of recently, there was a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. There's actively a ceasefire. Yeah,
it's actively a ceasefire right now, and it's just really bad and it's really scary, and it's weird to be like here, like I said, and thinking about it. Like I often think about how lucky I am because like I went to Paris, came back, and then went to the Dominican Republic. Like, who the fuck am I to sit here and be like, oh, India, like...
Seriously, who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck am I, right? Like...
India, stop!
India, stop! Stop right now. Thank you very much. Fafty, please. I just, like, can't, like, it's, I who am I to say anything? But it's really fucked up. It's really fucking scary because at the end of the day, the same way that I'm anti any type of ethno-nationalist state, I think that the existence of both of these countries, as especially Pakistan, I can speak about Pakistan at least, is like this Muslim republic, this majority Muslim republic. It's fucked. You know me. I'm anti-borders. I don't want any of it.
I think that's the important part for me and you, right? Because, as you were, everything that you said, right? It is a narrative. It is like, that is the story that we as Pakistani people, that people that are in our WhatsApp groups. So first of all, this feels like the first WhatsApp war that I've been a part of. It's just
totally.
Like you just get all the information that you're getting is from WhatsApp forwards from like Pakistani people. And then I'm sure, and I was talking to my Indian friends also, right? And I guess if we want to start off at like the stuff that we should, I guess, be fair about, right? So like, things like the terrorist attack that happened in Kashmir and 26 people died. Like 26 people died. They were tourists. It is an abomination that happened. Like, it is extremely fucked up that terrorism happened, 26 people died. And now at this point, it feels like an afterthought because terrorism is such a part of life in that region. It just happens all the time, right? This one terrorist organization, I think, originally took credit for it and then they went back on their word. But basically, what has happened in the region for the last, 20 years, maybe 30, 40 years, within Kashmir is there is a sentiment and there is, proof, and it's like how far into the rabbit hole do you want to get into, right? But the fact that Pakistan, or the feeling that Pakistan sponsors terrorism to take place within India is accepted as a factual reality, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not, because there are conversations, especially on WhatsApp, especially if you are Pakistani, if you are living in that ecosystem, there's there's a point of contention on the fact that, hey, there is no proof that this attack was done by Pakistan. It wasn't like a state sponsored thing. It's irrelevant to India, for lack of a better word, because there's a reality of that happening. Like, that is, when it comes to Pakistan and India, India's biggest complaint against Pakistan is that Pakistan conducts these terrorist acts within India because they can't take them on militarily, right? There is also a sentiment within Pakistani communities and people that I talk to now that are more tied into Pakistan than I am, because you and I don't really care about Pakistani politics, right?
We really don't.
Our brother and our mother care a lot about it. They care a lot about Imran Khan. They care about a lot of this stuff, right? There's sentiment within Pakistani communities that, actually India does a little bit of state-sponsored terrorism on the western border also, because I don't know if you know, but there are a lot of things going on in Balochistan, which is a state in Pakistan, about Balochistan getting its own freedom, right? So there's a Balochi freedom movement that people in Pakistan, or Pakistani people, think that is sponsored by India. Additionally, when it comes to terrorism, when it comes to actual terrorism and the fallout and like the casualties of terrorism, more terrorism in the name of Islam happens within Pakistan than happens in India or anywhere else. So, like, Pakistanis living with the reality and being victim to terrorism done in the name of their own religion is a prevalent thing that Indians do not. I don't think that they have the insight to it, right? But I think for Pakistanis, just like, hey, you're complaining about the terrorism in your country. Let me tell you something. These fuckers are coming after us. This is like a reality for us day to day, right? So that is the feeling about, like, that's generally the feeling between the two countries. I was going to say something else, but I forgot. So when it comes to military, right? When it comes to military might, when it comes to all this stuff, India is obviously a far more advanced nation than Pakistan. Like, economically, militarily, everything. India is in a way better position than Pakistan is. Another thing that adds to, like, the turmoil and all this is that Pakistan does not have its shit together, for lack of a better word. Like, India looks at Pakistan as a failed state, which is a legitimate gripe. It's a legitimate thing to say about a country that has had such upheaval over the last, I don't know, 30, 40 years, where the ex-prime minister is in prison right now. There's always been questions about who's actually running the fucking country, and it always seems like it is the military. So that is, you're not dealing with, like, the best nation when it comes to all of those things. So for India to feel that way, why it is legitimate. Like, you have reasons for it, right? So this thing happened. Things happen back and forth. For us, I think for us, for you and me, and for people that are probably listening to this, for Desis in America that are not going to be affected day to day by the violence or whatever, it is important for us to kind of just take everything that we are hearing with a grain of salt, is what I would say. What I have seen happen on WhatsApp over the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, just in terms of having conversations with my friends, both Indian friends and Pakistani friends, is like, this thing is very real. Like, the fact that your emotions get turned into this, like, it happens like within like half a second. And the reason is because we're not talking about two countries at the end of the day. This is a religious fight. And that is the other thing that we, people don't like to say. But it really, like, the reason why it gets people's, so excited is because at the end of the day, it is a Hindu-Muslim fight, right? And that's where, as Pakistanis, sometimes you say, well, it's a Hindu-Muslim fight, but Indians could say, well, no, India is for Muslims and it's for Sikhs. It has Christians. It's not, don't try to just make it a Hindu-Muslim thing, right? And they are well within their right to say that. At the same time, if you look at what has happened under Modi over the last 15 years, the ruling party in India is called BJP. BJP has a very distinct Islamophobia, Islamophobic campaign at the core of everything that it's doing over the last 50
Yeah.
You also can't deny that. Like, if
Yeah.
Indian person, you do see that, right? And I talk to my
What
Indian
is
friends
that?
about
Hindutva?
Hindutva, yeah, right?
Which is
And
like
so
basically for Americans, it would be like for the Western, it would be like Christian nationalism.
it's MAGA. Yeah, it's MAGA-ish. MAGA adjacent, right?
It's and you know what? Trump loves Modi. And Modi loves Trump.
Right. And so then, as a progressive liberal person, you say, well, that's fucked up. You are, it is religious based or whatever. But then again, it's like you said, hey, I don't know how much room we have to for criticism over India, because we think that India should be a secular nation. And when we see all this Hindutva stuff, all this anti-Muslim stuff, we say it's fucked up. Like, we have these expectations of India to be the secular nation. Meanwhile, Pakistan, like, the name of Pakistan is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, right?
It's bad.
But I don't know if there are cases of anti-Hindu hysteria and anti-Christian hysteria. I haven't seen it yet, but also I don't go seeking it. I don't go seeking, like, things where Pakistan is fucked up against Christians and Hindus.
Oh yeah, I think
But
we can probably do it based on the fact that
know exactly.
Hindus, and there are some Jews in Pakistan,
Mhm.
probably in hiding.
Yep.
Hindus and Christians are basically second class, third class citizens. So
Exactly.
I think that to bring it sort of to round out to what we've been talking about for like the last almost 2 years now is what's going on in Israel and Palestine, right? Like, it's a very similar thing where a lot of Israelis say, no, well, Israel is a democratic state. It's the only democracy in the entire Middle East. And it's like, oh, we have Arabs and we have Jews and we have Christians and everybody. But it's like, when you really dig into it and you really see the policies and that you see the ruling class or the current leadership, it's very anti-Muslim, it's very pro ethno state, and it's a Jewish democracy, and it wants there to be a sort of a step up for the Jewish population compared to the rest of the people. It's the same thing in India with the current BJP leadership, right? But again, at the same time, I can't deny the fact that there is anti-Semitism that happens in the pro-Palestinian movement sometimes. I cannot deny the fact that there is anti-Hindu sentiment in Pakistan. So, and while I will say that, of course, the majority of the fucking people that live there just want to go about their fucking day and be like, listen, if anybody's going to be making my fucking life miserable, let it be my own government. I would prefer that it's just my own government that makes my life miserable. How about not the neighboring state's government? I would like that, right? And in Pakistan, you have a very similar situation, if you want to compare it to Israel and Palestine, is that India does control some of the water in Pakistan. There is a river that goes from India to Pakistan, and there's a dam that they have built that limits the water that Pakistan can get. And of course, there are other wells and there are other things that Pakistan has tried to develop over the years, so it doesn't have that much of a dependency. But these resources in the region end up getting split up like this, and things like this happen. And at the end of the day, who are me and you living in New Jersey?
It's a bunch of fucking assholes.
A bunch of fucking assholes. Yeah. Bunch of fucking dickheads. What do we have to say about this?
What do we have to say?
What we do know is that my thing is that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. If I have certain criticisms for certain states or certain people or certain organizations, I have the same one. It's like across the board. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And it doesn't matter if it's your country that's doing it or another country that's doing it. And I'm raising this because there's a lot of people who understood the Israel and Palestine thing, but for some reason are having a very hard time understanding the India and Pakistan thing, and therefore siding with, let's say, India because they feel that nationalism, that attachment to their people's, homeland. I saw this this writer posted it on Instagram, and then I posted it on my Instagram, and it kind of like moved me because it was really sad, and it made me really emotional to think about, because I think that it's not so much something that maybe you and I think about all the time, but it's something that I think about for our parents. And it was this post that said, How many pieces does a heart break into when the homeland your ancestors were uprooted from attacks the homeland your people built, while you watch from the homeland that doesn't want you?
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy, champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel or that white chocolate mocha. Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
Well, first of all, ain't nobody don't want me, all right? I am lovable.
Everybody wants you.
Everybody wants me.
You want Raheel? Meet him at the Quick Check, okay?
No, I agree with that, right? Like it is. I think when you're saying that a lot of people aren't able to make that connection, like they were able to make that connection with Israel and Palestine. Part of it is because it's not. The Israel and Palestine aren't their homeland, so they can look at that thing objectively. Now, again, even in that statement that I just made, right? I'm saying that somebody's not being objective. Somebody isn't being fucking fair. And I don't know how much room I have to fucking say that, honestly, right? Like, I do think that Modi's government, and talking to my friend and all that stuff, there is active Islamophobia that is happening in India, right? At the same time, like we said, Pakistan is a Muslim nation. Like, so if you want to talk about, hey, what's discriminatory? One is like just going into it now. The other one was built in the name of it was built in the name of discrimination. You know what I mean? Like religious discrimination. So how much can you complain about it? What I will say for people because I've been talking to Indians over here, and who have families, who have parents that are taking in a lot of media because of like satellite. Well, not even satellite. Ain't nobody paying for satellite anymore. Everybody's got the box. Everybody's got the free box. Everybody's got the free box, right? Indian media over the last 10 years has gotten fucking insane. It is
nutty, you guys.
It's Fox, and again, this is like there's a TV station called The Republic, right? Which is like it is Fox News fucked OAN, and then had sex with because it was fucking, and then it was sex, and had sex with I don't know with Truth Social, right? It is insane. It is like a crazy thing. Those people are fucking. They're insane. They're bloodthirsty. There is active Islamophobia in on that channel, but you also kind of see it kind of disseminating on social media now. Like there are villages in India where Muslims are being attacked. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, and people go online, they make videos of it because they want this message out there, right? They want it to feel unsafe for Muslims. And again, this could be because I'm a Muslim and I see those things, and I'm on some level I'm seeking them out. I'm not looking for instances of Islamophobia. It just comes across my purview because I'm sure it's shared with me because I'm Muslim, right? It's complicated, man. I don't know what else to say. I will say, as always, and I don't know if this is like a fucked up thing to say or not, but like, Pakistanis, man, they meme well. They meme really fucking well. Pakistanis are really, really adept at being very funny on social media.
So funny, so creative. Like, the arts in Pakistan are really just top notch. I mean, self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
Just like some of the best stuff. There was a show when we were kids that was around when our parents were younger. It was called 50/50. And you guys, it was like SNL in Pakistan. And it was genuinely hilarious. The arts in Pakistan are really good. And they transcend space and time and borders. And we meme well.
We do meme well. I think for this one also, right? It's because Pakistan has to punch up when it comes to memeing. India, when it comes to like the narrative, India's punching down because, like, you know, especially if like you're on social media and stuff like that, it's like, you know, the criticism of Pakistan, aside from the fact that, you know, they say they're state-sponsored terrorism, it's the fact that Pakistan is a poor country. It is, you know, you can talk about it being like a failed nation and all those things, right? So a lot of like the hateful stuff, and when you know, there's morons, like fucking morons on both sides, right?
Yeah.
The really hateful stuff that you see on social media from the Indian side is about like how poor and, you know, what a shitty nation Pakistan is and all those things, right? And Pakistanis are like, bitch, you don't think I know this? Like, I have been making these jokes for like 15 years, right? So it's not as effective. It just comes off as meaner, which I think makes... Oh, and again, it's because we're Pakistani. Like, I think Pakistanis are the fucking funniest people in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting. I would just say to, you know, we're two Pakistanis that are talking about this. I'm sure that I know that we have Indian listeners also. And they may have a different perspective, and their parents may have a different perspective. And to them, it is very much about like defending their own nation and like defending it against like intruders and all those things. So, you know, if anything that we're saying feels like it's half a conversation or it's not the full picture, that's the reason why, man. And like, that's the reason why things like that, that's why it gets complicated, right? I'm sure Arthi has a different view than you and I do.
No, I think she's probably agrees with this. I will say this: Pakistan has no interest in taking any parts of India. Okay,
no,
Pakistan
can't.
They can't. They physically can't.
No,
monetarily, economically can't. Okay.
Pakistan has trouble like keeping the lights on in Parliament, man. They're not going out there.
Pakistan's like, trying to get the Afghans out of here. We can't handle any more people. Okay. Pakistan is, that's the thing. Like, I think that's the thing that I try to look at also is a lot of that. But I think the thing that scared me a lot in this go around was how a lot of our elders are coming, you know, they like, our mom was saying, like, she remembers growing up and the sentiment very much was anti-Hindu, anti-India, right? And that we needed Pakistan to exist to keep Muslim people safe. Like, that is what she was taught growing up, because again, she was born less than 10 years after the country was made, right? So that's what she grew up with. I think what scares me is that a lot of that generation of people that was born during the partition are now on WhatsApp and Facebook. And that's the stuff that scared me this round, right? From both sides, I'm sure, right? And so it's like, I could talk about media literacy issues with like our generation of people, right? And people believing fake shit and all that. But like, it's really bad with our elders, and especially because they get a lot of their information from WhatsApp. And I think this go around, that's the part that really scared me. Like, you want to think about like MAGA people, like believing shit on Facebook. Like, it's like, again, it's like that on crack. So you know, if you learn something from this and you've got a parent who's South Asian or a neighbor and they say, I saw this thing, because there's like a thing, there were like these crazy right-wing news stations are saying that they've like destroyed Karachi. They were like, we've bombed Karachi. Karachi is obliterated, which is like a major city. And the people of Karachi were like, have you seen our city? It already looks like it's bombed. You're just looking at pictures of the current state under our own government.
Before and after, exactly the same.
Anyway.
I think for our parents' generation, like that part about like, hey, this is the reason why you need to create a separate country for Muslims right now. I know you are not somebody that believes in borders or anything like that, but like the things that I have seen, and again, I hate to be like unfair or like be anti-Indian, but like I talk to my Indian friends, right? Like, and I care about what happens in India because Indian culture is important to me. Indian culture is my culture. Like what I want there to be like a prosperous India because for brown people, like that should be something that is a point. Like it's, I want to be proud of it.
A large part of the subcontinent is India.
Exactly. Plus, like, you know, we've been Pakistani. You and I have been Pakistani our entire lives, but Pakistan's only been around for 78 years, right?
And hello,
before that we were Indian.
And before, for the first half of this episode, we're talking about Indian superstar.
Exactly. Yeah, and also we're like Bihari at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What we're like the shit that we're actually made up of. So when I see a very nationalistic, closed off India, I say that that's fucked up. But again, I'm not Indian. You may think that I have no right to say something like this, right? But the Islamophobia that I have seen in the conversations that has come up with my friends and all that stuff is like when I see that, I go, well, this is the reason why Pakistan needed to exist because there really is. And it's really just because there's 80% of the population in India is one religion. The other 20 is a mix of other religions.
Yeah.
Things get complicated. Things are harder. People, the majority has certain thoughts and views. And if you light that powder keg up with a whole bunch of nationalistic, religious stuff, which a lot of these Indian media companies are not doing, they've also outlawed this one called The Wire, which is more of a progressive newspaper.
Yeah.
I see all that stuff. I look at it as a bad thing, right? Because it is bad. You should be open to multiple points of view. So I don't know. Best of luck. Thoughts and prayers, as they say.
Thoughts and prayers. I hope Pope Bob thinks about you. Here's a thing. Let's end this episode on a final note. Okay. It's our favorite couple, Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. Yeah. Bill was spotted this weekend supporting his girlfriend at her job while she competed at a Holiday Inn in the Miss Maine pageant.
Yes.
Somebody said she looks like from The Little Mermaid when Ursula becomes a human. And I can't unsee it. It's totally accurate. Now, Bill was there supporting her at her job because allegedly she's no longer allowed to be at Bill's job. Mm-hmm. Now, is that true? Did she get banned from UNC?
So do you know what happened with them like 2 weeks ago? Do you know about the interview?
No.
Okay. So 2 weeks ago, there was a CBS interview, right? The interview was for Bill has a new book out. And the book is about how he's a coach and a champion and all this other stuff, right? So they had like an interview for him on CBS Sunday morning or whatever. During the interview, the CBS reporter asked Bill about Jordan. And he said, hey, where'd you guys meet? Right? Jordan stepped in and said, hey, we're not talking about that. So that part of the clip then became like its own story, which is Jordan is controlling this interview. Jordan, this 24-year-old, is shutting down. And
diva.
It became like a contentious, and like Bill was just like looking at her for like, hey, I don't want to talk about this. Get this guy to get off my ass or whatever. And basically what happened there, then like people saw that. Now you have to understand how men view Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is the greatest football coach of all time.
Yeah.
He knows how to shut big football players up. Like he is a man. And to see him look like he was being controlled by the sweet 24-year-old. I think men took, a lot of people were like, hey, what's going on here? There were some people that are talking about elder abuse. Like, hey, this is like a young lady that is taking over Bill's life. And to be fair, to be candid, Bill has forked over a lot of his stuff over to Jordan. So like he asked her to be CC'd on all his business communications because she is managing those for him. So like, he's at UNC now, North Carolina. He's the head coach. He said, hey, any future communications, CC Jordan on this because she is helping me with this stuff. Right. So
she knows how to convert the PDFs. That's what it is.
Exactly. So that's been going on. Now there's all this commotion about like, hey, how much is she controlling? Hey, where did they meet? Why doesn't he want to answer that question? Now, so I saw a tweet that said, when people say we don't want to talk about how we met, I know what that means in Miami, and that basically just means that it's it's a pay for play type of situation.
Yeah.
Right? All of it is misogynistic.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. You have historically been...
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Okay, yeah.
Now, you have historically been one against age gaps because you say it is obviously a sign. Yeah, it's misogynistic. The woman does not have a say in this relationship. She's too young to be making up her own mind. Soft brain, no hard, whatever.
Frontal lobe.
No frontal lobe. Now, in this situation... This is a young woman, 24, maybe committing elder abuse, maybe using sex as a weapon. She's got poor Bill trapped with her magic cooch.
Her magic.
Where is the fair? Like, what about what poor Bill needs?
Okay,
what about his freedom?
Okay, first of all, there's no such thing as poor Bill. Okay, I knew that this girl knew exactly what she was doing when, was it last Halloween or the Halloween before, they had a photo shoot where she was a mermaid and he was a Gordon's fisherman. Yes. I said, this girl, she's got him wrapped around his finger. And then we started seeing all these things in People magazine, all this stuff, and it's not Bill Belichick. It went from Bill Belichick with girlfriend to now Jordan Hudson with boyfriend Bill. She was getting top billing on those articles.
Got herself into the Dunkin' Donuts Super Bowl commercial with fucking Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Tom Brady. And Jordan said, hey, you know what? Make room for Jordy. I'm in here also.
And honestly, I respect a girl with
I respect
hustle.
The fuck out. I love all of it.
I love all of it. This is the one situation where I will say, you know what? I'm fine with it. I don't think that this girl is being abused. I think that she's doing just fine. I think she took an opportunity. She grabbed it by the balls. Okay. And she said, said, I got this. I've never seen that man. I've heard about this man for 30 years. He is such a curmudgeon, just grumpy, arms crossed with his cut off sleeves. He's wearing full sleeves now. He's smiling at red carpets. Okay. He's dressed up like the Gordon's fisherman. Okay. For God's sakes. All right. He's fine. Now, in terms of elder abuse, get the fuck out of here with that. Okay.
I will say, you said that she took this opportunity and she grabbed it by the balls. It was easier to grab the balls because they're lower hanging.
Super low hanging. They're down by the ankles. She said, "Oh, they're right here. Okay,
they're like right there.
Easy. They're like right there. I mean, the fact that
lift up a pant leg, there's some balls.
The fact that you got Bill Belichick to go to a Holiday Inn to see a Miss Maine pageant. Come on, like that's amazing. And you know what?
So
say, yes,
you and I agree. Age gaps aren't a thing.
No, that's not true.
No, age gaps
in this particular situation.
No.
I think
you
that
can't.
It's fine.
Listen, what did you just say about India and Pakistan? What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. What's right is right, baby. Age gaps, not a thing anymore.
That's not true. Glad. I disagree. All right. Well, anyway, this was a lot. We had a lot to catch up on. There's havoc right now in the streets of Newark. The mayor got arrested. The airports aren't working. There's a very exciting mayoral election coming up in New York City with a very... Do you know about Zohran Mamdani?
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk about him. I want to talk about him next week.
Fantastic.
I'll be back this week with 2 Bravo episodes. I'll have one episode with our friend Kendrick to talk about Housewives. And I'll do another episode with our friend Chelsea to talk about The Valley.
When you talk to Kendrick, can you ask him how excited he is about Mission Impossible Final Reckoning?
I can ask him about that. The other thing that I know he is excited about is that the Eagles are playing the Cowboys in their season opener in Dallas. And he posted a picture and he captioned it. Let me read you the caption. It was really good and you're going to love it. And that's what we'll leave this episode on. He said, I quote, "The Eagles are going to stomp a mud hole in our asses."